The Independent Communications Authority of South Africa has confirmed it has received a complaint from the economic freedom fighters. This relates to the party's election advert that was rejected by the SABC. Icasa spokesperson Paseka Malika says the body is looking into the matter. The advert was due to be screened free of charge in slots allocated to political parties ahead of the elections. Well, let's discuss this story further with media attorney Melissa Moore from Section 16. Melissa, good morning again. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, it's the second time around that the SABC has acted in terms of what it calls the broadcast regulations and saying this particular advert by the EFF that's calling on people to physically destroy e-tolls is inciting violence.
Well, I think in the larger context, the advert itself is fair. We want to see political free speech like this being put out and people expressing themselves accordingly. But I think there is one hurdle that the EFF is going to have to overcome, and that's a specific provision in the Code of Conduct that says that the licensee must actually ensure that material does not contain, that the advert does not contain material that is calculated or in the ordinary course is likely to provoke, incite any unlawful, illegal or criminal act, or that may be perceived as condoning or lending support to any such act. So I think that may become a bit of a problem because the e-toll issue and the call to destroy, but I think that call is sufficiently vague, so we don't really know what may happen, if anything at all. But I think that in cases like this, where there may be a little bit of doubt, we should always err on the side of openness and placing information before the public, so that the public themselves can decide.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you balance that fair comment or free freedom of speech in a situation where, as a broadcaster, you've got that code of conduct where you have to make sure that you are not disseminating information that could fall into any of those things you've just read now? Okay,
that's a very difficult balancing act. It has to comply with its legislation. So if it sees that there's something that could contravene any of the codes, it has to take it up, either reject it, as they have done in this specific case. However, these codes are all subject to the Constitution, and the Constitution provides for freedom of expression. It does have a carve-out, which we call a carve-out, which says that the incitement of imminent violence is not protected. But I don't think that this specific advert falls under that carve-out. Then what you have to do is you have to then go and say, okay, well, this code is a limitation on the right to freedom of expression. Is it reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society based on a number of functions, of issues and elements? For instance, is there another way, a less intrusive way of limiting the speech? Is it fair and justifiable looking at its purpose? What does it mean to put out there, context, etc.? So it's a very difficult weighing balance, and when that balance you're not really sure, our opinion is that you should always err on the side of openness and putting that information
which is what seems the
there.
SABC is doing in this case.
Yes, well, no, err on the side of openness.
Of openness?
Openness.
I thought you said err on the side of caution.
No, err on the side of openness, so that you can place that information before the public. But they have rejected it, as they say, so now it's before Icasa, and Icasa needs to make that decision.
Yeah, okay, there's broadcast regulations, but also there's electoral conduct. I would have thought political parties will also check these things. We saw the DA with this fair comment situation with that particular SMS that was sent out. Then we saw the advert situation happening, and the SABC saying, okay, let's just study this, and in the meantime, the advert can continue. So it looks like people are not, the various role players themselves are not actually sure how far do you push the envelope.
Well, I think when freedom of expression is concerned, you push it as far as possible, within the bounds of the Constitution itself. And obviously within testing that balancing situation. Because remember, it's political free speech. We've worked hard to get that in South Africa. And the individual needs to know what all the political parties stand for. So let them decide.
But using words like destroying and some, it conjures up some kind of image in people's minds.
Indeed it does. That's why I said it's not entirely sure what is envisaged, but it does destroy e-tolls physically. It does create an element of unlawful conduct, which, as I said, may fall within that specific section. But as a citizen, I would like to be able to see that that's what a political party stands for.
And make up your own mind.
And make up my own mind, and I think that's the very difficult balancing task that Icasa is going to have to do, and any other court is going to have to do for that matter, if this specific advert is taken or banned indefinitely.
Okay, we'll watch the space, and thank you very much, Melissa. That's Melissa Moore from Section 16. She's a media attorney.
Know more about your world.
eNCA.com.